the election.
Yeah.
Definitely my boy Kanye, because I want to get some people's opinion on if they felt like he was effective at all in the midterms. Because, I mean, even though he tried to scale back at the end, like, some people could have seen it as, if he gave him a chance, I might as well do it too.
Yeah.
You know, so I want to know how people feel about that. Yeah.
Okay. Bet.
So yeah,
I used to.
Ready?
I thought you always press record.
We're recording, dude. Where I'm at.
So real quick, so I used to Live My Life by Kanye, right? And so he had a line in a song that encapsulated my fucking soul, right? And it was, you should not be bothered by my lateness. You should be honored by my greatness that I even show up to these places, right? Melee for everything. So, I mean, I grew up and I looked at everything. He said 7:15. That was the time I walked in this.
Yeah. I definitely understand that. Yeah. That's me at work. I'm on time everywhere else except for work. Well, when I was working, when I worked for them. So,
touch on anxiety.
Yeah, especially
that book just came out.
Especially that. I got
book just came out.
I have to read that.
Oh yeah,
because that other one.
I finished it already. You gotta go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out.
You need to check
that other one, man. That first one.
Yeah.
The Black Privilege.
Yeah.
Man, it was a lot of people that took the title wrong, but that book was good. It was like it inspired me because I'm just like, man, really what the book is saying, you have the same 24 hours in the day as everybody else, regardless of what's going on. You really can't let nobody hold you back, and you really got to go seek opportunities, especially one of the parts in the book when he says about don't ever tell somebody you can't do something. Take the job, figure it out when you get there.
Yeah.
Because I'm always like, man, I'm a perfectionist, so everything for me has to be like, okay, it has to be like this first. You got to be able to do this before you can do that. I'm like, nah, take the job, get there when you do it. I just did a wedding. I had never shot a wedding that big. Did it. They loved it. They love the pictures.
Yeah, so that dinner that you did on the spot.
Yeah.
Like, that was live.
Yeah, so, you just, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, man, especially when you need the money. You like, look, let me go, let me do this, pull it off, man. A lot of times I look at things from the perspective of like how most creatives would. So it's like me as a photographer, I'm looking at how another photographer is gonna look at my pictures versus how the customer is gonna look at the pictures. They ain't looking at all that technical stuff. They looking at the memories that you capture, the videos that you capture. They ain't looking at, oh, well, here it looks like you used the wrong frame rate, or here it looks like your color balance was wrong. They don't care about none of that. All they care about is, does it look good to them? That's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, you know, that anxiety plays a huge part. So I'm gonna definitely have to check out that book when it comes to that.
I like it because number one, he got an actual psychologist that throws his piece in.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Robert Greene's books, how he'll throw a story and then he'll do or he'll do like a personal relation to the topic, or he'll use a celebrity or use somebody and then go back in history and talk about, and put reference. So when Charlamagne, he'll talk about a specific topic on anxiety or talk about a situational anxiety, then there'll be a doctor come in and he'll say, this is the medical terms, or this is why that makes sense. Or
that's perfect, because a lot of people will be like, oh man, he don't know what he talking about, or he just talking out the side of his neck or whatever. But it's like dope that he was able to pull an actual professional, kind of like with me and my sister with the Inner Mind. She's the actual therapist, and I'm just the talking head. Like I'm talking from just my personal experience, and she's talking from a professional experience. So we can just like professional layman's. Yeah. And we bring those two together, and then they're able to see and kind of get that picture of like what's going on, because sometimes everybody doesn't understand technical talk. It's just like I tried to explain yesterday about the whole thing about politics. It's like we assume that people can just go Google something and they don't understand what these candidates are talking about. Half these people can't even do their own taxes. You really think they're going to understand policies that these politicians are trying to implement and go there? It's like, nah, man. I was literally, when I went to go vote, there was a whole, I was in Fort Bend. Mm-hmm. So there's a whole proposition that was on the ballot that I knew nothing about. And it was basically about them, because they're trying to get money to build more schools. So I'm just looking at, only thing to me, I see build more schools, that means more taxes. That's that's all I hear now, especially, man, where we at, man, them taxes is ridiculous in Cross Creek. So I'm like, sometimes you got to fall back and you got to really try to help people understand what it is instead of attacking people and being upset with them about what you feel they didn't do. You're going to need to find out why they don't understand what they're looking at, or why they may not even have partook of the whole voting process, because they're just like, oh, you want me to go vote straight Democrat? or straight Republican. But that's what most people do because they don't understand what they're voting for. They just identify with a certain party,
that's the quickest thing
certain
to do.
color, and it's the quickest thing to
go on a ballot.
Just
Just one button and leave. Versus actually pick.
Yeah, exactly. The Democrat might not actually be a part of, might not be implementing policies that you even care about. Same thing with that Republican. They might not be, against you. They might be for something that you're for.
But it's it's crazy part. I was just talking to we was looking at like a lot of the political ads.
Yeah.
And it was nothing but dirt. It's like there's no policy that you're talking about. Mm-hmm. It's just vote for this guy, not because of what he does, but because the other guy wants open borders, he wants crime, he wants this and this. That's like, all right. We know that's straight dirt, right? No one actually wants open borders. No one wants crime. No one wants that. But I get that you're trying to say that his policy is so weak that it's going to allow it. But the commercials have gotten so basic.
Yeah.
Have gotten like this commercial would convince a fifth grader. You know what I mean? Like they're made for elementary school
kids.
True.
But
and as an adult, you're sitting there like you really spent millions of dollars making a commercial that only says this guy wants open borders. Vote for this guy. That's it.
And it plays on what it is. It plays on people's basic emotions. So it's like I didn't know anything about Beto O'Rourke. I know that he had a DWI because of the commercial. I knew nothing about him, but I know that Beto O'Rourke is irresponsible because he had a DWI. I'm like, dude. He had a DWI, and we have another guy in the office who's done much worse. So you mean to tell me that I shouldn't vote for this guy because he has a DWI? That's the thing, is that he's human.
My favorite one is when he went on and said he would legalize marijuana, but then the commercial against him says he wants to legalize all drugs, including heroin.
Like shit, if you think about it, it's already legal. You can go to the doctor and get Oxycontin and all kind of other stuff. So it's legal. It's the thing. It's not legal on a street level. So it's like it's only legal if the doctor says, "Hey, you need this for your back." But if the doctor don't say you need it, it's not legal, and that's crazy to me. Right. Like let the doctor dope you up. Hell, when I got my tonsils taken out like 2 or 3 years ago, the doctor literally prescribed me something. And I used to work at a pharmacy, so but I had never heard of this medication, and it was called methylprednisone or something like that. It was something. It was actually one of the medicines that Michael Jackson had been taking. Okay. And it was Control 2, which is like basically Control 2 is right before illegal drugs. So I go to the doctor because I'm like, man, the Tylenol 3 I gave me isn't working. I'm in the worst pain of my life. I go to the doctor. He prescribes me this medication. I go to like 3 different pharmacies because nobody carries it. So I go to the pharmacy inside the hospital and they have it. They prescribe it. They give it to me. On the bottle, on the thing, it says only take 1 ml. Do not take more than 1 ml. I'm like, damn, 1 ml is little. Like that's a very little amount. Most children for cough medicine, you take 5 mls. So I'm thinking 1 ml, and I'm thinking how big I am. I'm like, bro, that's not enough medicine. So I took 1 ml the first time, and it kind of helped with the pain. The next morning I woke up, it was even worse than the day before. So I took more. I didn't read on the bottle that it said it could slow your heart down. I'm literally laying in the bed thinking I'm about to die. So this is medicine that a doctor can prescribe you. They can send you home with this medicine, and it's literally like if you go from 1 ml to 2 mls, it can kill you. And they send you home with that. But you're telling me, oh, weed is bad. Like, bruh, I could eat 10 edibles. I might go a little crazy, but I ain't gonna die. But if I take 2 mls of a pain medicine, I'm out of there. They're gonna be reading my obituary. So it's like that's just weird to me. It's like it's like I said, they're playing your basic emotions. These drugs. You take these drugs every day.
Now let me ask you this too. Like I know a lot of people we talk about like the in the black community and how we don't put mental health as a priority.
Yeah, it's very taboo.
Yeah. Now my question is, what like the history of experimental things and things like do you feel like there may be a distrust in why black people wouldn't even want to go to doctors or wouldn't want to go to psychologists and you know what I mean, like because a lot of people don't want to talk about this as well, but I mean physical health is probably just the same. Like it's a lot of black people that don't want to go to the doctor when they're sick or don't want to go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? And like I would rather, and it may be, some maybe those in the country or whatever, but there's a lot of people that don't even believe in immunizations.
This is true.
So I mean, I kind of started thinking like, recently, like, is there like a correlation like with the distrust in any type of medicine, and or even like the issue of asking for help. Period.
It's twofold. We know that in the black community, everything for us initially, well, I didn't grow up in the church, right? But for most black people, spirituality is their base. That's like where all your problems go to. All your problems go to God. You sick, go to the doctor and go to God. You dealing with depression, go to God. You dealing with anxiety, go to God. Like all these problems go to God. So you got to think about the first thing is therapy is expensive. It's not cheap, right? And it was never a thing that we talked about. Like if it was like the thing we looked at as if you were dealing with a mental issue, you were weak. So there's that side of it. Then there's the side of distrust. People don't just distrust doctors. It's been that way. You got to think about the Tuskegee experiments. Like people don't go to the doctor. It's like, I'm gonna go to the doctor. I'm gonna let you inject some medicine in me because you're guessing about what the problem may be. So I'm gonna let you put a needle into my arm to put the virus in me that's possibly going to prevent me from getting the newer virus. So the distrust isn't just a thing of, oh, we only believe in God, but it's a thing of we've seen throughout history where doctors kind of experiment on black people. They play with black people's lives. It's like there's a whole thing right now where they're saying how black women are like when they're going through labor, how they literally have to beg and plead to get pain medicine when they're at the emergency room or when they're going through labor because the doctors don't believe in their pain. When on the flip side, it's like, oh, white woman or whoever else come in, they get able to get that medicine and they're able to get those things with no problem. So the distrust comes from various things throughout history, not just a thing of, oh, no, we're not going to get the immunizations. We know that certain immunizations lead to autism.
Yes.
We know that certain immunizations have caused people to become paralyzed. We know that certain immunizations have caused people to become even more sick and end up with something that's worse than what they were trying to prevent in the first place.
Yeah.
So the whole thing, going back to the psychological aspect, the mental health aspect, and it's like going to sit down with somebody. Black people won't go sit and talk to a therapist, but we'll go a lot of times because the school tells us, hey, you need to go take them to a psychiatrist. Because the psychiatrist says, hey, he running around, he don't sit down enough, he talk too much, give him this pill. That should calm him down. That should make him focus on his work. So it's like, plenty of people that don't send their kids to therapy, but plenty of people who have kids that are on ADD meds. Yeah. Because these are two different practices. One talks to you about how to handle and cope and deal with your problems. The other one talks to you about, hey, take this pill. The pill is going to fix it.
You know what? It's funny that now, being in the education field, I kind of sort of have, like, I'm starting to understand the parental side of that. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm special ed and I have behavior class, and I'm looking at these kids and I'm like, okay, for all these years you've been tearing up the place. Mom's tired of those phone calls home. So now that added pressure I can see that making the parents say, all right, let's go ahead and give them a pill because they come to me one more time. I got to leave work. If I leave work, I got to get fired. And it's like, all right, let me go ahead and do it. I don't have time to personally sit here and work with this kid as much as it takes to get him to settle down and function in the class. Yeah. Because, I do that 8 hours a day. Mm-hmm. That ain't easy.
Especially when you at work and you're not supposed to be on your phone, and as a parent, you keep getting these calls while you at work. Oh, Johnny ain't sitting down. Johnny tripping. Johnny out here trying to fight. Johnny yelling. Johnny cussing. Johnny out here trying to fight people. So it's like all these different things that make it where it's like for a parent, I understand why they would take that route to say, okay, hey, I'm going to, go ahead and go take them to the doctor, let them doctor say that they bipolar, or let them say that they have ADHD, or they're dealing with anxiety or whatever, and give them a pill, and then for 8 hours out of the day, the kid seems normal, but in reality, they're not. And I think I think the thing is now, and what we've backed away from as people is understanding individuality and understanding that we have a system set in place that says if you're a fish, you can only swim. If you're a monkey, you can only climb. If you're a dog, you can only bark. So when the dog or the fish or the monkey does something different, it blows everybody's mind. It's like, why are you acting like this? Like, you shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be that way, because society has taught us that everybody's supposed to be within this box. So if this kid talks a little bit more than the other kid, he needs meds. If this kid is a little bit more aggressive than the other kids, he needs meds. If this kid can't sit down long enough, which that was me, it's the other kids, he needs meds. But we're not meeting we're not meeting some of these students. Some of these students do have real issues. Some of these students have engagement issues. And so you have to engage everybody differently. Working in management, I understood that you manage each employee differently. Yeah. You manage each problem in your life differently. You don't say, okay, well, if there's a fire, I'm gonna throw water on it because water should put the fire out. So now, if you know there's something that's dealing with electric, you wouldn't throw water on it. Yeah. So you know that you handle these problems differently. But the thing is that everybody's saying that everybody has to fit within this box, and if they don't fit within this box, then we just give them a pill, and that should fix the whole issue. But the thing is, these kids get older, probably don't have insurance, and they can't take these pills no more. So for 18 years of their life, or basically from grade school to they turn 18, they've been on pills. Then 18 comes. You've been told from basically grade school till graduation, you're disabled. You have a disability. You don't know how to pay attention. You don't know how to act right. So we've been putting pills in you. Now you're 18. You really hadn't got you, because a lot of times when they put these disabilities on you, you end up in like certain types of learning environments where you don't really learn. So now you get pushed through the system. These kids graduate. And they don't have no real skills, they don't have no real education, and then they struggling as adults because they can't afford to get the ADHD medicine no more.
Well, I think too also it's like there's no one pill that will solve all of the different mental issues or aspects of why a student may have mental issues. Like they're coming from either a traumatized background or traumatized, current
true
environment, right? And so, and all of those have an effect on your brain one way or another. And so it's like, if you're going to tell me, all right, I'm going to give you one pill, that's just saying I'm going to slow you down. I'm going to tire you to where whatever you're dealing with is not going to be out while class. But, after 3 o'clock when that bus drop you off at home, that's on you.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, you're probably in your natural habitat, so you probably won't get as off the chain as you would in school.
Yeah.
But at the same time, no one is figuring out what that problem is. We just want it to stop. So we're going to give you a slow down pill.
Yeah.
We're going to give you a chill pill.
That's exactly what it is, a slow down pill.
We're going to give you a chill pill and say whatever your issue is, whether it's ADHD, ODD, whether it's autism, whether it's schizophrenia, you're going to stop for these 8 hours. So I can teach.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get
because like at school, you get the pill. At home, you get the belt.
And so it's like, and the thing is like, okay, what's the point of the pill? Is it really to solve you, or is it really to make it easier on the school? Or is it make it easier to handle you? Because like you said, once you don't have to be handled anymore, then what? Right? You go off in the real world and you're like, oh.
Yeah. And I used to see that all the time, especially when I was working for the state, working at the food stamp office. These kids that basically went from their parents, especially it's incentivized for a lot of parents to be like, yeah, their kid does have ADD or whatever, because then they get a check. They get them checks.
I filled out paperwork a lot for a lot of different kids, so they
now they get that check.
Recognize what that.
So it's like it's incentivized now. It's like, oh yeah, my kid do got ADD, or my kid is bipolar, and now your parent getting that little SSI check, that little $733 a month because you can't act right at school.
What's crazy is like, I guess not because of that incentive as well. You would notice that more people were so quick to do that, but for themselves, like you said, it's weak to admit that I have a problem. But if my kid,
but this is the weird thing about ADD. It's only a disability when you're a child from like newborn to 18.
Yeah.
It's a disability.
From 18.
Once you turn 19, like, nah, bro, you ain't disabled no more. You need to go get a job. You can't pay attention. You shit out of luck. Yeah. So that's how the game is played. That's how I know it's such a flawed system. Like, I had ADD growing up. Thing is, I never took medicine for it. I didn't take medicine for it until I was an adult. The crazy part about the test is I went in, they give you this it's like this basic pamphlet, right? It's like this thing. Do you have trouble sitting down for a long period of time? Do you notice that when you're reading, you get distracted easily? It's like basic stupid questions. Like, if you're any type of smart, you can answer this question and get the pills you want.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. And so it's not an in-depth test. And then what happens is you go in the office after you fill this out, the doctor reads it, it's like, oh yeah, it looks like you do have ADD or ADHD. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to prescribe you this certain medicine. So the first thing they prescribed me was Strattera, which is a non-stimulant, right? So it's like your baseline ADD medicine. Take that. I'm like, nah, I don't feel any smarter. I don't feel like I'm paying any more attention. Like, I still feel like I'm procrastinating and I'm lazy. I need what's gonna not make me lazy? I need something stronger. Give me something that's stronger. Cool, we got something else for you. All right, we're gonna take the Strattera away. We're gonna prescribe you medicine that's without insurance. It's $745, but with your insurance, it's only gonna cost you $35, right? and it's called Vyvanse. Right, it's like 25 milligrams. We start you off there. It goes all the way up to 70, I think. Just okay, take that. Boom. Oh man, I feel amazing. I'm at work. I'm in training. I'm taking the test. I feel like I'm engaged. I'm focused. But what happens is when you come down off that medication, you get irritable. Like it's like your body goes from hyper focused, hyper locked in to now I don't know how to feel right now. And it was like my wife, she would like notice it was like I'm irritable and I don't really want to be bothered. I was frustrated. I also couldn't sleep because it's like somebody hits you with like 50 cc's of caffeine in the heart all day. It's like it makes you jittery. The medicine is like it's like you've seen Limitless.
Yeah,
it's like that. It's like that. It's like all of a sudden you're able to recall and understand information that nobody else can understand. That you were having a hard time with, but all of a sudden it's all right here now. And so the only way I can really describe it is it makes me feel like how I feel Asian and Indian kids are all the time. Like there's just like this hyper recall of information and being able to understand and remember things all the damn time. And I'm just like, my mind doesn't work that way. I'm a creative, so my mind is always in random spaces and spots. And so it's like on certain subjects, super knowledgeable. On certain subjects, it just depends on how I'm feeling, if I can recall information or not. So that makes a big difference.
Man, it's the craziest thing is like when you had described how your mind be going in all these different places and stuff like that, and I was just thinking about how like the big emphasis on anxiety. Nowadays we were just talking about Charlemagne's book, and like I was thinking of this day, I was like, isn't some anxiety warranted? Like, shouldn't you have anxiety for certain things? Like if you walked around with no warning system, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, wouldn't you walk?
That's a really good way to look at it.
You know what I'm saying? No spidey sense at all. Like I'm just walk in this gunfight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I after reading that book, like it really makes you think about all the decisions or the decisions that you didn't make.
Yeah.
Because of anxiety, and you didn't even realize that the reason why I chose not to, deep down inside, was really because of anxiety.
Yeah,
right. And I know you spoke about a lot on your Facebook posts about like fears, anxiety, and fears, and how sometimes that takes a bigger toll than people think about.
Yeah.
Especially when it's making big decisions like starting your own business and jumping into that, a new job like we were just talking about too. So man, and especially with like so many dang businesses that you got, like how has that like how can you see like affected you and coming through like your different business ventures and stuff like that, and I guess for other people, like what would you say to them?
For me, the biggest thing was my anxiety starts early.
Do you need anything to drink right now? Do you need candy? Are y'all recording?
It's right.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So for me, like coming through and dealing with my anxiety started off at a young age. Everything for me was always based around like really anxiety starts for us kind of early. Like it's embedded in us because of the whole testing system with TAS. So it's like, all year you're teaching. Hey, this month, TAS test. Just get ready. Like we gotta pass this test. If you don't pass the test, the school not gonna get funded. And it's like all these things that are like all these things on your back, right? And what happens is that really realistically, it's like when in the beginning it was like from like first to like basically all the way through middle school, the TAS really didn't affect you.
Yeah, well, after 3rd grade, 5th grade.
Well, it didn't keep you from passing.
Yes.
So back in the day, you just it was like, okay, cool. This is kind of where they said you were placed on this level. This is where you are with it. If you aren't on par, then this is what we'll do. But it wasn't this like major thing where they kind of like shut you down because you didn't pass the TAS test. Yeah. So it's like we spent all these years going through school where it's like it don't count. Then you get to your senior year, and they're like, if you don't pass this test, you can't graduate. So all these other years, you basically let me skate by and not have to, pass this test or barely get by with being good at this test. So where now it's going to affect me and I might not be able to graduate. So we start there, right?
Like I even take it one further and you continue. When I was in college getting my bachelor's to teach, they would tell us that there are certain districts that will send home a check based on your kid's score.
Oh yeah.
So not only is you worried about passing, some kids is like, dude, I gotta pass this test so we can eat. Like, imagine that anxiety.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Like,
that's what was the apartments you used to live in back in the day? Was it Bentworth or whatever?
yeah.
They used to have, my mom tried to move into these apartments, right? Then they want your kids' progress reports,
Bro.
And if your kids' progress reports, if they had like N's or U's on their progress report, they would deny your application. And I was like, that is crazy to me. So there's like all these things that were kind of like a lot of people don't know certain things, but there's things that's tied to that. And I remember that as a kid. I was a kid in middle school when that happened. So now let's fast forward. So people always say, man, you got all these talents, man. You bake, you do video, you do music production, you tell desserts and all this different stuff, right? Now I do all these different things, but there's anxiety tied to that because it's like, okay, boom, this week I get 150 pudding orders, but then this week somebody also wants to do a photo shoot, and then somebody also wants a logo, and then somebody also wants a video shot. Now I can't do all these things. I'm only one person, right? So it's like trying to have structure with all these things and mingle all these things is great if you have a team. But if you don't have a team of people that can handle and that you don't have to touch, each one of these things for me is tangible. I have to physically touch them to make them possible. And I can't. So it's like I have to focus on one thing at a time. Now for me, quitting a job, because everybody's like, oh man, well you got artist support. Support is different from people that pay money. People support you and people like you and they think you're dope. That don't mean that they're going to pay you. That also doesn't mean they have the money to pay you. So it's like I can have 5,000 Facebook friends, but my 5,000 Facebook friends can't buy pudding from me every week. They can't buy a photo shoot from me every week. They can't buy a music video from me every week. They can't buy a logo from me every week. Or they don't want to buy those things. And that's perfectly fine. I don't expect them to fund it. So the thing is that then you have to get out there and you have to actually meet people outside of the Facebook world, which was crazy for me because I'm so used to when I was doing music production, I made all my money online. I never had to go meet rappers. I made all my money online. So I made like $20K in 1 year just selling beats online. I didn't have to leave the house, the comfort of my house. So when that started to die, and I actually had to like go meet rappers and go to these things and meet these people, I realized I don't like dealing with people like that. And especially people with these like these certain type of personalities that are just unlikable.
Do you think that may be an issue with people in general? Like, now that the social media wave has come and most people are so used to just simply communicating and making business transactions and doing all this stuff online. And then they get into certain professions that require you to now talk to someone in their face.
Network.
And so it's like, okay, especially like with those who struggle with anxiety, it's easy to do this behind the screen because I don't have to. But then you get on the spot and you actually have to talk to somebody for the first time after after they've expected you to be, that guy, right? Because online you that guy, you known for da. And so when they meet you, they're like, okay, I'm finna come meet that guy, and then you're like, I ain't talked to somebody about this in a minute, like face to face.
And see, this is the thing. I'm like, and I may not seem like it on Facebook, but I'm very much an introvert. If I could stay in my house all day, I would. But the thing is that I gotta go. I actually gotta leave the house to go network and deal with people, and it's cool. Like when I'm in my element, I'm fine. When I'm shooting a video or I'm doing photography or whatever, I'm meeting customers for pudding. It's perfectly fine. It's the looming aspect of those things. So it's like, okay, people want to place pre-orders for pudding, right? So then all these orders come in. Now I got 30 people that I got to meet up with for pudding, and it's like this looming thing of now. Okay, I have
you
to
don't
get
even
this,
be knowing. Shout out Nord,
yeah, right? Exactly. Like money just start coming to the
Nord.
PayPal. I'm like, who the hell is this that's paying me for?
You just
paying me for this stuff. So now I gotta prepare these pudding, right? And this is gonna sound real weird. So for me, I used to be scared to take pre-orders or deposits for anything. So I'm like, if I die, these people don't get their money back. This is how my mind works. My mind goes to like worst case scenario type stuff. It's like, or if I get sick and I can't deliver stuff this week, I be trying to support black businesses, but black businesses, they be messing up. They be doing this and they be doing that. And I'm just like, bro, I was in the hospital, I almost died. I'm one but a lot of people, I even try to explain this to Sneak. Shout out to my boy Sneaky Eats. I try to explain this to him too. It was like, customers are not going to understand. That's why they're customers and not business owners, because they're